Welcome to Hypnotic Talk with Miri and Neota. So, this is a place where we meet to talk about stories and anecdotes and information about all things hypnosis. Because Miri and I trained together to become hypnotherapists. And in the years since then, our practices have gone in different specialties where that are overlap and some are completely separate. And we still stay in communication because we remain connected as supports and confidants and colleagues, and our love for all things hypnotic healing. And so we decided to have this little talk online to share some information with people about what we do, what we know, what we've seen. And in that way, today, what we are talking about is Tales from the Chair. We're going to share some client stories that we have around insomnia and sleep issues. So these are real life scenarios that we have encountered. And this is, of course, 100% confidential. And we've discussed between us that we probably won't even really share demographics about our clients unless it's pertinent to the story. So with that, Miri, tell me something that you encountered with an insomnia client.
Okay, so I had a client around late 40s, very high level manager in the company they work in, and they couldn't sleep. And I say couldn't because, as we said, we're not sharing the demographic, but they couldn't sleep. They couldn't sleep for a little while, and they got really frustrated. It influenced every part of an aspect of their life, and they found out that they can't communicate well, and they don't work as proficient as before, and they like their family suffers from it, and they suffer, and everyone was miserable around the issue that this person didn't sleep.
That's
So
reasonable because if you don't have your sleep, you don't have a basis to do anything else.
right,
It's like being deprived water or food. It is an essential need. So when that need isn't being met, you don't have the ability to address other even mundane things. So everyone around you, of course, suffers, as
yeah.
was happening in this case.
So this person came to see me, and actually we worked online, and although I pointed my chair, um, tail from the chair. And we met online over Zoom, and we started our sessions. And what we found out that yes, the person doesn't sleep well. They slept around 2 hours a night, which is nothing. Um, we also found out that it started around the time where the company this person works for um, is in the process of acquiring another company.
Right.
And when we addressed that, we figured out that this person is very, very worried. And the worries are around what the new role is going to be, if this person will continue in the company. And
Right.
if they continue in the company and they won't be laid off, what would be the role in the company? Like how much more load they can manage, if
Right.
at
Are they
all.
going to be right? Wow. I mean, that's so common for people to suffer sleep interruption around big life changes and the uncertainty that
Exactly.
that brings with it. Whether that's conscious or subconscious, it's a common insomnia is a common side effect to stressful situations.
Yeah, this person had lots of worries before sleep. Uh, as they said, they couldn't turn their mind off or the thoughts off, and they felt like the thoughts are running and running and running, and they don't have an outlet. So this is how we started, by understanding when did it start, what was the
Right.
trigger. Of
Right.
course, we don't know if this is the root cause or if this is the trigger, but for that matter, it was trigger, and the trigger was strong enough for this person to, not to sleep.
Right.
So this is how we start. So what we started doing at the beginning was to understand the nervous system and how it influences sleep, but also our reactions. So here's how I describe it. I described it as if there is a scale. On one end, we have the rest and digest, like everything is calm, but very, very, very calm. On the other end is the fight or flight or freeze, where everything is highly stressed, high alert, very tense, uh, extremely anxious. And we want the meter to be somewhere in the middle, to have
Right.
a healthy balance, right? We don't want to
Yeah.
be apathetic on one hand. On the other hand, we don't want to be highly stressed or anxious. So we want the needle to be somewhere in the middle, so we are able to calm and relax, but we are also able to be alert and motivate ourselves and move forward. But this person, as it seems, and we never know, but it just, a metaphor, the meter was very close to the end, to the stress, and
Okay.
all the way back. And uh, the first thing that we did is to help this person create a new and healthy balance between the rest and digest and the fight, flight, or freeze. And the
Right.
way we do it is we do it throughout the day. It's not something that you do at night when you already stressed and you want to go to sleep.
Yes. Yes.
We need to start this process as soon as someone wakes up.
Yeah.
We need to start it at the beginning of the day and go throughout the day to allow our nervous system to calm down rather than to accelerate the stress or anxiety. And so
Yes.
we talked during our video that we did, you and I, we talked about different practical tools for anxiety, and we used some of them for that
Right.
to create this balance. But we did it during the day, where the person didn't even was close to bedtime.
Right. Right. So it doesn't start this, it has to happen right now. It doesn't create an additional anxiety around the time
Exactly.
frame. So
Yeah,
it's working through it in advance. Genius. That's
exactly.
awesome.
And we also sent like a time frame to when we do it and what can trigger our work. So if this person needs to breathe, for example, we talked about breathing
Yeah.
also in our video. So when is a good time to do it? When they first wake up in the morning, still in bed, when they get a text message or maybe a phone call, or before um, a, I don't know, a meeting
Yeah.
online or in person, right? They can take a 2 deep breath, 2 long exhales, right? And just
Yeah.
go into the meeting. By this, they activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state. And
Yep.
the more we activate this rest and digest state, the less the fight or flight or freeze is taking
Yes.
over.
Yes. Coming
And
into
of
the
course,
center.
yeah, and of course, we incorporated many other tools. Most of them, or some of them at least, are in the episode that we did about practical tools for anxiety,
Yes.
you and I.
Yes.
So I can tag this episode, and you can have a look. But we also did hypnosis. And hypnosis, why I like hypnosis for sleep is like threefold. First of all, we create new balance.
Yep.
Second is we allow our body to relax
Yep.
and pretend this relaxation is the same relaxation as the one before or when we go to sleep.
Right. In that transition from being awake to being asleep, you go right through a hypnotic state. So it's a progression.
Yes. And just having this awareness in the body, and we know that the brain does not differentiate between reality and imagination.
Right.
For the brain is now something that is familiar. It's as if this person already did it. This person knows how to do it. So
Yeah.
because it's familiar, it's easier to do it when they need it before sleep.
Yes.
And the last, like the third thing that I like about hypnosis is the suggestions and shift of awareness and opening up to new opportunities and possibilities. So going back, so this is why I like hypnosis for sleep, but going back to what happened with this person is that we had to address not only the sleep issue, but mostly the stress around the acquisition of the new company and
Yes.
how this person see themselves in the process
Yeah.
and the outcome.
Yeah.
So most of the work was around this, around what happens at work
Yeah.
and creating new balance.
Yeah.
We hardly addressed, in this case, we hardly addressed sleep.
Right.
And so slow, like not slowly, but quite like, no, it didn't happen like this, but gradually throughout over 3 sessions, over 4 sessions, 3 weeks, um,
Right.
this person could sleep again. And
Beautiful.
and just remember and reminding him that sleep is a process. It's not something that is on and off switch. It's a
Right.
process that happens, right? It's a biological process sorry, physiological process that happens. And
Yeah.
and sometimes we can take control of this process and makes it even better, optimize this process. So this is
Yeah.
one. I want to leave you some time to talk about your story, but what we're taking from it is creating new balance and knowing that life event can create or life event influence our sleep
Yes.
a lot.
Absolutely.
And even if we say, like, when we are stressed, we already stressed as it is, and we have accumulated stress, we're saying, no, it's okay, I can deal with it, I can deal with it, I can deal with it, until we can't. But all the way from, the foundation of the stress, from the basic point of stress, all the way of accumulation of stress, we
Right.
sometimes we forget to say, well, we are stressed. We create new normal all the time and we don't think we are stressed, but our body knows we are stressed.
Yes. Yes. The body always tells. The body is a translator. When you have new or recurring symptoms that flare up now and again, it's telling you something about your emotional state, about your anger, your anxiety,
Yeah,
your guilt. The body keeps score, as they say. It's a
yeah, yeah,
translator. Translate your emotional state into a physical state, and it will manifest, as an actual illness or dis-ease, or But I get on my little soapbox about that because it's just so powerful.
yeah.
The human body is a closed system, so of course it does that. My sleep story is parallel and completely opposite, so it's so funny because it is about the mind going around and around and around and keeping the person awake and preventing sleep. And this person's sleep also affected their whole household, but for a different reason, because my client was a child who was just at that age where they're not completely dependent on their parents, but they're still very young and not ready to be self-regulated. And someone in their life, their age, or maybe somebody a little bit older, had started sharing ghost stories.
Oh,
And the child was kept awake by their mind going around and around and around fear with these ghost stories. And like you said, imagination versus reality, your body and your mind don't care. They respond. And
Yeah.
this person, and especially at bedtime, would allow the ghost stories and the potential that there was ghosts in the room or that could come visit, and it interrupted her sleep. And you know what? Ultimately,
Just a quick question. Is it okay for you to share the age? Because I think it's important for parents to know,
yeah,
like
yeah, you're
what to
right.
expect.
I believe she was 9 at the time. She may have just turned 10. She was right around 9 or 10. So,
Right.
like I say, she was old enough to get herself to sleep. She felt comfortable getting up in the middle of the night and walking around the house um, without trying to interrupt her parents. But of course, when you have a child walking around your house and you're a parent, you do wake up.
Yes.
Um, and I honestly, because of my workings with the client and the adults in the house, I didn't ask any of them if the child shared the ghost fear with the parents. Because whatever the situation was, they invited me to help her resolve it, and that's what I did. And so, how that was playing out, I didn't make any judgment on whether or not ghosts are real. I didn't make any judgment on any beliefs or disagreements that they had within them. I dealt with her fear, and that was one where it took one session, and it had been months of the household not sleeping. And we had one session, and it wasn't my first session with the child, but it was my first session with the child about a sleep issue. And so we had a rapport, we had a relationship, we had worked together previously, and it took one session, and she was sleeping. And again, the entire household was grateful for the relief. And I have another client that I was started working with anxiety, or sorry, with insomnia, and she
Just before you start this one,
yeah, sorry,
going back to what you said about one session, that it wasn't the only session with the client, but one session around sleep. This is very common. Once you have a rapport with the clients, it's
yes,
easy to change things. But when you start working with someone who's completely new to you and you are completely new to them, we need to
yes,
create, especially with kids, right?
yes,
We need to create some kind of rapport. And with
yes,
kids, changes can happen really quickly, but the
yes.
rapport is necessary.
Absolutely. And there has to be an ability to understand that you are safe, that you're a safe place, that you're not going to
Yeah,
betray them, or, that they can trust you. And I mean, obviously, if there's issues that have legal implications or,
yeah, of
immediate,
course.
but in this case, I was just able to work with her. I was able to meet her where she was in her fear level, and I was able to help her give her, some power and control. And that's all she needed. She just needed
Amazing.
someone. Yeah, it was so rewarding. So, I love working with kids for that reason, is that you don't just work with the child's success because the parents are invested in their
Of course.
children
Of
and their
course.
emotional being. So it's, yeah. And I had another client that I had begun with for insomnia. And and you have to start slowly sometimes with hypnosis, just because it takes some getting used to. Like, am I going to cluck like a chicken? Am I going to give up all my power and control? And so it's good to have sort of an intro session where you do some work, but it isn't into the heavy of it. And it's, you don't start with your therapist and go right to the zingers. It's a process. And so yeah, and so it didn't work in one session. And
But
so I think maybe
when
the
you say it
disappointment.
didn't work in one session, it's fine. I mean, I think,
Yes,
and I keep my magic wand here to show to show that unfortunately we can't
I know.
cast a spell over someone and change it, right? It's a mutual process, and we co-create. And
Yes,
when it's like, it's good that it didn't work in, like, I don't know if it's good or bad, I don't want to put any judgment, but it's
right.
okay that it didn't work over one session. I wouldn't
Yes.
expect it to. I would expect maybe to see some changes, but not,
Yeah.
flip from 0
On our
to
own.
200. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, it's very rewarding to help people through their stuff.
it is. And I think once you allow them to sleep again, this is fantastic, because what else do you need, right? I mean,
Yeah.
of course, you need a lot more, but it's the foundation. It's the foundation of well-being.
Indeed.
And
Like all other decision making, all other habits, all of your responses or your resolve is weakened when you're in an exhausted state. So,
absolutely. And decision making, like for those who are on diet, for example, or those who are taking like 100, need to make 100 decisions per day, all of us. But if you are
yeah.
in a high level position, managerial position, or as a mom, you need to make
Yeah.
lots of decisions every day as a parent. Um, if we don't sleep well, it's not good. We don't make the
Exactly.
good decisions. Um, it's about body repair, muscle building.
Yeah.
It's about blood pressure and cardiovascular health. It's about
Yeah.
anything.
Your immune system
Yeah,
replenishes during a state of sleep. So all of those things are programmed. Like it's a biological function. The reason that we sleep a third of our lives is because that's what it takes to replenish what we expel.
yeah, yeah. And memory,
Yes.
uh, um, fine motor and gross motor, like everything is improved with good sleep.
Yeah.
So I love, I love the way we are sharing cases. I don't like to call it cases because everyone is different, right? But
Yeah.
to share experience from the, or as you call it, tale from the chair, because it
Yeah.
brings it, it makes it accessible for someone to know that they are not alone. And often I tell my client, you're unique, but not in that you can't sleep.
Right. Right.
So many people can't sleep. Like insomnia rate is through the roof, and it's going bigger, like it's growing every year.
Yeah.
We have so much stress. We are facing so much anxiety and different changes in life, in our environment. So our sleep is one of the first thing to affected by it, to get affected by it. But what I like about us sharing those stories is that other people can understand that they are not alone, and some other person has exactly or close to exactly the same situation as they are.
Oh,
The person that I talked about, it can happen to a mom when the children are, or to a parent when the children are going through a transition, going from elementary school to middle school or to high school,
yeah.
from daycare to kindergarten,
Yeah.
when they move houses, when they live, or relocation. Like when someone is changing a job, it can happen to so many people. All those racing thoughts that
Yeah.
it's very hard to turn off and quiet down.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect. So thank you very much. I love this video. I love sharing stories and make them accessible to others. And if you liked anything about it, please like and subscribe to our channel. And please ask us any questions. We love to answer any hypnotic questions. And
Yeah.
until next time, bye bye from Miri and Neota. Bye bye.